So, what if you could start a really profitable online business, but without holding any inventory, without having any employees, and, get this, without even doing the service yourself? It's a real thing. It's called drop servicing, and it's basically flipping the whole traditional service industry on its head. It lets you use other people's amazing skills to build your own business. All right, let's get into it.
It sounds a little like a trick question, right? But seriously, just imagine this for a second. You could become the go-to agency for incredible website design, even if you personally don't know a single line of code. Or maybe you're the top choice for slick, professional video editing, even if you've never touched a video editor in your life. That is the kind of power we are talking about here. Just shifting your thinking in this one way, well, it unlocks a whole world of possibilities.
All right, so here's the game plan for the next few minutes. First, we're going to break down the blueprint, how this whole thing actually works. Then we'll look at a menu of services that are in super high demand right now. After that, we'll talk about the one big hurdle that trips everyone up. We'll cover a playbook for success, and finally, we'll map out your very first step to get started.
So what is this blueprint? Honestly, the best way to wrap your head around it is to think of yourself as a kind of digital general contractor. I mean, think about it. If you were building a house, you wouldn't expect the main contractor to be laying bricks or installing the toilets, would you? Of course not. Their job is to manage the whole project so you get the house you dreamed of. That is exactly what you're doing here, just in the digital world.
And here's the official definition. And you gotta love how simple it is. You are the bridge. You connect a client who has a problem with a skilled freelancer who has the solution. The real beauty of this is that it lets you focus on what you're actually good at. You know, if you're a great salesperson, you go find the clients. If you're a born project manager, you make sure the quality is top-notch. You build the business around your strengths.
Now, what's really important to understand is the core difference here. Let's say a client needs a new website. A freelance developer, they sell their time to build that site. But a drop servicer, you sell a complete solution. That could mean the design, the copywriting, the launch plan, even the monthly maintenance. You manage the whole project and bring in experts for each piece. That's how you scale way beyond what you could do on your own.
And the process itself, it's this clean, 5-step workflow that you can just rinse and repeat. Step 1, you land the client and lock in the deal. 2, you find a qualified expert and assign them the work. 3, you review everything to make sure it's perfect. 4, you deliver the final project to a happy client. And 5, you profit. You pay your freelancer and keep the difference. It's a simple, elegant system.
Okay, so you've got the blueprint for how it all works. Now it's time for the fun part, deciding what you're actually going to sell. And this is a huge decision. The trick isn't just picking something that's popular. It's finding a service that you're actually interested in, so you can speak the language of both your clients and your freelancers.
Here are just a few ideas for services that are hot right now. You've got video editing, where demand is absolutely through the roof, but keeping the quality consistent can be a challenge. Then there's CRO. That stands for conversion rate optimization. It's basically the science of getting more website visitors to buy stuff. It's awesome for performance-based pricing, but you might have to spend some time explaining what it is to clients. See, every niche has its own little puzzle to solve.
Now, to really understand the potential here, let's just zoom in on one explosive niche for a second: building functional AI agents. We're talking about things like AI-powered customer service chatbots that can handle most of a company's support queries. This frees up the business owner to actually, grow their business. That's the kind of high-value problem you can solve.
And if you want to talk about scale, just look at this number. The market for AI agents is projected to hit a mind-boggling $236 billion. To put that into perspective, that's more than the entire economy of a country like New Zealand. If you can tap into even a teeny tiny fraction of a market that's growing that fast, well, that could be a game changer.
Okay, so you have the blueprint, we're all fired up about a service, but now we come to the biggest hurdle. This right here? This is the moment that separates the people who actually succeed from the ones who just have a really good idea. It's finding clients.
And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? I think we've all been there. You've got this brilliant service to offer, but all you hear is crickets. It's so frustrating. But here's the good news. Finding clients isn't some kind of magic. It's a skill, and it's a problem that absolutely has a solution, as long as you have the right strategy.
But don't you worry, we are not going to leave you hanging. In this next part, we're going to give you 2 proven playbooks for finding clients. The first one is very hands-on, very relationship-focused. The second one uses technology to bring in leads on a much bigger scale. By the end of this, you'll know exactly which path is the right one for you to start with.
So think of it like fishing.
The social media playbook, that's like spear phishing. You're carefully targeting one specific client at a time, but your chances of landing them are really high. The automated playbook, on the other hand, is like casting a huge net. You're going to catch way more leads all at once, but you'll have to sort through them to find the real keepers. Let's break down that first one.
So what if I told you that the absolute best place to find your next client isn't some stuffy corporate network, it's Instagram? Yeah, that's right. This is your hands-on, boots-on-the-ground approach to finding businesses exactly where they're already hanging out, trying to get customers themselves.
You might think LinkedIn is the place to be for business, but the data is pretty clear. Less than 10% of local businesses are really even on there. The real gold mine? It's Instagram. Over 200 million businesses are active on Instagram. That's an enormous number of potential clients all in one place, all looking for ways to grow.
The method here is super simple, and it's all about making real connections. First, you build a profile that looks professional and clearly states the problem you solve. Then, you use hashtags to find your ideal clients. Next, and this is key, you actually engage with them. Like their stuff, leave thoughtful comments, and only then, after you've built a little rapport, do you slide into their DMs to start a real conversation, not just a cold sales pitch.
Okay, now for approach number 2. What if you could find hundreds of qualified leads every single day without ever leaving your computer? That is the power of the automated engine. This is how you stop hunting for leads one by one and start generating them at scale.
The secret here is a type of software called local lead finders. So, for example, let's say you want to offer website design services to restaurants. You could use one of these tools to find every single restaurant in your city that doesn't have a website, and poof, it'll spit out a list with their names and contact info. It does all the heavy lifting for you.
So what's the big payoff here? It's time. A whole lot of it. As this chart shows, these automated tools can cut your research time by up to 60%. I mean, let that sink in. For every 10 hours you used to spend just looking for people to contact, you now get 6 of those hours back. That's like getting an extra workday every single week to focus on what actually moves the needle, talking to potential clients.
All right, we have covered a ton of ground. We've defined the model, we've looked at what services to offer, and we've laid out 2 really powerful playbooks for finding clients. So now, let's bring it all home and boil it down into a simple checklist you can use to get started.
Here it is, your launch checklist. First, really own your role as the project manager. Your job is to lead, not to do the technical work. Second, pick one niche and stick with it. Become the expert. Third, build a portfolio, even if you have to create some sample projects yourself to start. Fourth, master one way of getting clients before you even think about adding a second. And finally, be absolutely obsessed with quality. That is the secret to getting clients to come back again and again.
And this is maybe the most crucial point of all. With something like drop shipping, you're risking money on ads. With Amazon FBA, you're risking money on inventory. With drop servicing, you don't do either of those. You secure the client first, then you get paid. You profit directly from solving a real problem for someone, which makes this one of the safest online business models you can possibly start today.
And that really just brings us to the final question, the one that's just for you. You've seen the blueprint, you've got the playbook. The only thing standing between you and a profitable online business right now is taking action. So what problem are you going to get paid to solve first?